Simon Bown, Past Life Regression Therapist and host of the Past Lives podcast.
And when I wanted to become trained as a hypnotherapist, I did a lot of searching around, and it seemed like there were some courses where they'd maybe do just a weekend, 8 hours on a Saturday and Sunday, and give you a certificate and say, hey, you're a hypnotherapist now. And I thought, that's no good. You can't really learn to do this like that. So I went on an extensive course that was 10 months and 160 hours of classroom time and so much work outside of that. And eventually I handed in a portfolio that was 78,000 words, and it went to the National Council for Hypnotherapy. That's where I got my diploma, and that's the recognized body in the UK for hypnotherapy. So I felt that I got full proper training, because you don't want to go to a hypnotherapist who hasn't really been trained and is just kind of making it up as they go along. And it was a thing where I was helping people lose weight and stop smoking, and I had particular success in stopping smoking, and lots of people would come to me for that, and that came out of word of mouth. But at the same time, all I really wanted to do was past life regressions. And so that's when I started to seek out doing a course in past life regression therapy. And I wanted it to be extensive and not just a weekend again, or not just watching a couple of videos online and then you get your certificate. So that was what was so good about your course, is that we could do all those Zoom calls and you could connect me with other students and we could practice the past life regression on each other, and all these questions that needed to be answered, and we go over all these things. And that's where I got my confidence to do past life regression therapy, is studying your course and combining that with everything I'd learned from the previous course and all my experience from it before.
So you mentioned, as part of the Past Life Awakening Institute, I match up fellow students, and all the students are at a pretty high level. Did you find it helpful to have that as a resource as well, as part of the training?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's really important, I think, because if you're sitting there and it's a proper client, they paid you money, and you can really feel under pressure for that. And in your first few sessions, it could mess you up a little bit because you're so worried about your own performance. But if you go through doing sessions with people who haven't paid you, and in a way, they know you're a student, they're not expecting you to be perfect. And so if you do mess up a little bit, it doesn't matter so much. And it's also, you can talk about the student with it, and they might have ideas that can help you, and you might have ideas that can help them. And it's, like you say, it's a safe space, and you don't have to put all that pressure and stress on yourself. And you won't, you might worry that the client will think you're stupid because they think, why did I pay all this money for this idiot? But with the fellow students, you can get away with being an idiot.
Yeah, I find that a big issue with a lot of students. And I do try and push people and say, with the mentoring that you're getting from me, with the curriculum that I'm taking you through, you deserve to be paid. You're earning it. But still, people have, it is that state. And it's not and I kind of like it in a way, which is, it's like there's more competence than confidence. And we can increase the confidence as we go along. And once you've done that couple of times, then you can go out and feel confident to do it with the clients. But just that first initial step is a big one. So a lot of people do quite a lot of free sessions. And to be honest, I've never done a free session in my life. Like from day one, it was just like I did a couple of very minor practice things on my in-person training, a long time ago. And then it was just practicing, and it's just come in and pay. So I never done it. I recommend people to really get paid as early as you can. And I think that's really helpful. But just that little barrier and it's not a competence barrier, because I think you've got the ability, but it's just that feeling. And so it's an inner state. And once that state shifts because you then see the value. So I'll say to people, like, you don't understand, at the end of these 3 sessions, they're going to have so much value. And I know that because I've seen my students do it. And they'll know that. I know it now, and you'll find it out later. And then you'll go, oh, I wish I'd charged, or, oh, I did create value, and you're investing in getting good by doing this kind of training anyway, where I mentor you through it, and we I'm sort of assisting along and making sure everything's sort of heading in the right direction. And part of the assessment at the beginning to make sure if it's an appropriate person or that preparation, I think it's, people can charge right away. But just to get over that hump is something that is a big benefit a lot of people get. So by the time you do graduate and you're working with people, then you can just really have fun with it. And as a contrast to being like a little bit nervous about what people are thinking of you, to like having fun and being really clear and confident at peace with yourself as a therapist is so helpful to them as a client.
Yeah, I think there's some people who may worry about charging, who don't feel they should charge it when they start out, but the client's paying for your time and your expertise.
So it's one thing to be interested in past lives, deeply, but it is another thing to commit to being a professional and to working with other people. What's being a therapist meant for you?
I suppose it's really a feeling that you're privileged in some way, and you're lucky that you're kind of a facilitator. It's not like you're a doctor and the healing is all down to you, and the patient, they just have to do as they're told, and then they'll get healed. It's a partnership with the person that you're working with, and so it feels like, yeah, you're lucky to be a facilitator, to help people get into that space where they can get those insights and get that therapy.
I feel the same way. There are certain sessions where you think, how is it possible that humans can have this kind of experience? I mean, it's amazing. There's a magic in it. Is there anything that you would say to people who are interested in, doing all the work and committing and being obsessed and going through all the discomfort and nervousness, and is it valuable and all those things? So there are a lot of barriers to being a therapist, but there are a lot of rewards for it in the end as well. So what would you say to people who are interested in taking it to a professional level?
Yeah, it's very rewarding, and you get a lot out of it, and you get to meet a lot of interesting people, and it also gives you insight into the community around you. You might be like me and do it all with Zoom, and I'm in the UK and most of my clients are in the USA. They are not living some happy life that it appears they are from the outside. And so it gives you some empathy, and it changes the way you treat people around you, whether it's your family or your work colleagues, or maybe just other people you meet. You realize that lots of people have these little things that may be causing suffering. And I think that changes the way you treat people, and you have more empathy and less judgment.
So for people that are interested in working with you, how can they contact you?
My website is called pastliveshypnosis.co.uk. You can contact me there through the contact form.
If you're interested in having personal sessions or certification training in hypnosis or hypnotherapy, or regression to this life, past lives, between lives, or spirit releasement therapy, then visit my website, the Past Life Awakening Institute. Thanks so much for watching or listening, and see you next time.